Creativity is making marvelous out of the discarded. Welcome to another interesting episode of the Women series where we capture developments and stories that impact women. Today, we continue our conversation on the eco lifestyle, women doing great things in the waste recycling and upcycling industry. And my guest for today is Bilkisu Garba-Diallo, the founder and managing director of the Upcycle Architect in Abuja, one of Nigeria's foremost creative waste management company. Ms. Bilkisu, thank you for joining us on the program today. It's great to have you.
Same here. It's nice meeting you virtually, Ayomide. Thank you for the opportunity. I feel honored.
Thank you. Going through your profile, I understand that you studied architecture in the university. Where did the waste management come in? Could you talk us through your journey into entrepreneurship and what was your motivation for going into it?
All right. Thank you again. So I actually studied architecture in school, my first and second degree. But when I was let me just take it backwards a little bit. When I was in level 300 during my undergraduate days, I just realized I wanted to do something a little different from mainstream architecture. At that point in time, where I'm exposed to different aspects of architecture. Architecture is a really broad field, and then there was landscape, there was urban design, there was interior design, and I just really fell in love with interior design. So I knew after graduating, I was going to do something in the line of interior design. And at that time, even currently, we still don't have any high institution in Nigeria that offers anything related to interior design. So you'd have to go abroad to study anything in that line or do online courses, which was what I did after graduating. Fast forward to my postgraduate days, there was a particular course called sustainable architecture. That was the beginning of the journey for me because it exposed me into the concept of environmental sustainability, how buildings, right from design, incorporate these elements and aspects. That was when I understood how our practices could have detrimental effects to our way of life and just our lifestyle generally. So I knew after my postgraduate days, I wanted to not only venture into interior design, but a line called sustainable interior design. And at that time, it was still really new. So, and my postgraduate degree was in Kaduna State in Ahmed Bello University area. So I left that side of the north and then came to Abuja, and that was predominantly how it started for me. I got a job in one of the renowned interior design firms then, Albedo Designs, and they gave me that platform to be able to express my creativity in every perspective. They also had a school then, an interior design school, and they allowed me to develop a curriculum and course on sustainable interior design. And at that time, there was materials that had to do with sustainable interior design were very scarce. Even online, it was something that people didn't really know or speak about. It was still really new. And then I had to go through that struggle and intense research and reading on how to develop a curriculum on sustainable interior design. Then aside to that, so that was I was taking a course in the school then, and also running the interior design firm as their project manager. And during that particular time, there was a project that we had. It was to revamp a 3-bedroom bungalow. And there was nothing wrong with that space. There was nothing wrong with the house. They just wanted, the owner was tired of the look. So he wanted a fresh new look. And from the chandelier to the drop lights, to the furniture, to the carpet, to the floor tiles, we removed every single thing. And in all honesty, there was nothing wrong with them, but he just wanted a new look. And then I noticed in that process, because just in front of that site, we had like a building up dump site because of the amount of solid waste that was coming out because of the renovation. And then there were some men outside, about 3 to 5 of them, that kept asking me, okay, Hajia, what do you want to do with this? junk? What do you want to do with this junk? Do you want us to clear it for you?
Post
We'll clear
them.
it for you without having to pay us. Would free willingly do it? And I was looking at it like, oh, that's an interesting avenue for me to get the site cleared and not have to pay anything. You do to the light fittings, to the um, kitchen cabinets, to everything. They cleared everything for me, even to the debris. Then fast forward to I think November of that year. That was in 2016 in Abuja. I went to a place in Abuja called Jabi. Now Jabi has a site called quote unquote is a junkyard, has a junkyard called Panteka, like Panteka, but they call it Panteka. And then I went there, get some items, and then I saw about two of those guys that I saw on that site while we were doing the renovation. And then I asked them what they were doing there, and they told me they have like shops where they sell repurposed, reused items. So if you want like a low cost WC, for example, water closet, or you want a wash hand basin, a toilet basin for not in its perfect condition, but it's still presentable, it's still usable, and not as expensive and pricey as maybe those gotten from Italy or China.
Yeah.
You could get them there. And they had so many, from frying pans to chairs to carpets to curtains and reused blinds, window blinds, just anything you could think of. They had them there in different forms. And that was the real beginning of the journey for me, because it exposed me to the fact that there actually is a market for these kind of products. And it was so interesting to me. But then I didn't want to start it as a business because I was still working in the interior design firm. I was very happy with what I was doing, but I just wanted to talk about it. I wanted people to understand how their practices affect the environment negatively, how people could get creative and not only have to, like, going back to that particular project, if that client maybe had a little bit of an understanding of what upcycling and creative upcycling was, he probably would have reused and repurposed some of those items without necessarily having to throw them away. You understand? So that was just what I wanted to do. I wanted to just blog and talk about it on social media. But then that was not enough for people. I got invited to symposiums and exhibitions, and then people wanted to see. They didn't just want, don't just talk about it. Let's see these things that you're saying practically.
Yeah.
And that was how I started making products. And that was how the Upcycle Architect came into being. And the rest is history. That's how it started for me. It was unintentional. That was not the plan. I never planned to be an upcycler, but I'm glad that I do that now. It's very fulfilling.
Right. So you've explained how the journey started and then how Tupa came about. But there is a difference between recycling and upcycling, if I'm not wrong. Could you talk us through the difference between recycling and upcycling? Because some people mistake these two concepts, and I'm pretty sure that it is different. What's the difference between the recycling and the upcycling?
Very true. A lot of people make that mistake a lot. Till date, we still have that issue where people say, where people rephrase what we do as recycling. There is a big difference. But then I don't know if you've heard about the 3 R's before.
The
People talking
reuse,
about reduce,
and
recycle.
recycle,
So
yes,
it's a popular
statement.
reduce and recycle. It's a very popular terminology in environmental sustainability, exactly, and solid waste management. So upcycling has to do with reusing and reducing, and then recycling is on its own. So let me give you an example. When you have your plastic bottles, so you bought water, you were thirsty, you bought water, you drank, and then maybe you have like a collection bin in your office, and then everybody that drinks, what do you call it, plastic bottles, takes their plastic bottles and dumps them in that collection bin. Now, a recycling company, for example, comes, collects all those plastic containers that all of you have dumped in that bin, and then takes them to their recycle plant, their recycle factory. And then what they do is recycling undergoes mechanical and sometimes chemical processing. So they take those plastic bottles, they sort them out. So you could have maybe a plastic bottle from this company and a plastic bottle from this particular company. Now in recycling, they don't just merge all of them together, and no, they have to sort them out because every plastic container has its own components, what it consists of. So they sort them out, and everyone that is alike, they put them together, they wash them, and then it goes through that process of recycling. Now it goes through that breaking down phase till it gets to like particles, like grains. I don't know if you've ever seen like recycled grains before. They're just like chips. And when they are broken down in that line, they are now taken further to manufacturing companies, plastic manufacturing companies, and then turned into another form of plastic. So maybe they were plastic bottles before, and then they recycled them into maybe plastic buckets or plastic bowls, for example. That's recycling.
Yeah.
That's recycling. But then
For
the thing with
upcycling.
recycling is it gets to it, not everything can be recycled. Not everything can be recycled. Number two, it gets to a certain stage. For every time you recycle, you um, downgrade how do I put it? The structural component of that plastic is broken down. So for every time you recycle, it loses its value. And if we get to a certain stage where recycled products can no longer be recycled because they probably got into the end cycle of their lifespan. You understand?
Yeah.
And then another thing again is so they eventually end up in dump sites. That's for recycling. But then upcycling is popularly known as creative reuse.
Okay.
If I have a plastic bottle, or if I have a wine bottle, for example, or if I have a tire or a drum, I am converting it into something else. This time around, it's not going through any disintegration process. We're not taking it to break them down into chips to recycle. No, we're converting or reusing or repurposing them into something else that has a higher value than it originally was.
Okay.
So, like if you have, I don't know if you've seen these wood pellets before. You find a lot of them in, or even plastic pellets in they come with shipped goods. Almost every shipping container has tons and tons of pellets because that's what they use in giving like a solid base and just putting in place products that are usually shipped. Now, when they're done with those pellets, they usually just discard them. And then you maybe find people, especially the wooden ones, find people that are not knowledgeable about upcycling, either turning them into firewood, which is still polluting the environment and causing even more issues. But when it comes to upcycling, instead of throwing them away or just discarding them or leaving them that way, you could do 1,001 things with those pellets. You could make a bed, you could make amazing furniture, you could make furnishing with them. So that's what do you call it, upcycling is. If something that is tagged as useless or dumped or old or scrap or junk, and then you creatively turn it into something that is
Meaningful.
more functional,
Yeah.
that is what upcycling is. So that's the difference.
Okay, so I've gone through your yeah, I understand. I've gone through your works and I've seen that you do quite a number of things. You upcycle quite a number of products from bottles to furnitures and quite a number of things. How do you source for these products? I mean, is it that you're basically in tune with one particular product or anything that you see that you feel like can be upcycled, you just pick it up and then you do something with it?
So because we're actually a sustainable interior design brand with a lot of emphasis on upcycling. So most of what we produce, most of our products are items that you can use for an interior space.
Okay.
So we predominantly make furniture and like interior accessories or decor accessories. That's what we do. So the bulk of our products are usually sourced from construction sites, usually. But then again, we also have access to household waste and then fashion waste. Those are usually what um, we use.
Okay.
And more often than not, we buy these waste items. It's not as if there are times when people just give us for free. There are times when we have to go junking. We have to go search for these junk items ourselves. There are times when family members just say, "Oh, Bilkisu, we've been collecting plastic bottles for you or wine bottles for you," and then we take. But there are times where maybe you have particular projects and you want to create a certain element or a certain product, and we have to like go buy these junk. But the reason why we're not too rigid, too fixed as at now on the kind of materials we use is because we're trying to build like a solid brand, a brand where it opens your eyes to how wide and how broad upcycling, you understand, is. And because it's still relatively new in Nigeria, we don't want it to be so fixed to a particular product and then people just feel, okay, that's the only thing you can get from creative upcycling. We want people to know that with almost anything, if you could have a fantastic interior space that is between 60 to 95% upcycled. So even from your curtain to your carpet to even the wall finishing, the paint on your wall is something in that line. That's how in depth we want to go. And then there are times when, even when we source for these junk items, when we get these junk items, we test run some of these products and then they turn out to be failures. So we know, okay, this might not be the most sustainable product that we could upcycle, because it's very important to make a product that you know will stand the test of time, not a product that you will make and then after a month
Sometimes.
it's damaged or it's then it goes to, then there's really no need of upcycling. Something you will make and it will stay for years and years. And even when the person is tired of it, you can still convert it into something functional before, in a really long time, it ends up in dump sites and landfills.
Right. So, in terms of marketing, what do you do to project your brand in such a way that it scales up with the regular market? So, I'm asking this because there is a notion that upcycled products, some people feel like upcycled products are not safe for the skin, especially those that come in contact with the skin. Some people feel like it is not safe. So, how do you project your brand in such a way that it scales up with the regular market?
Especially with COVID-19, the pandemic and lockdown exposed us to new grounds. It exposed us to the power of the internet. You understand? Because initially, most of what we were doing were usually very physical, usually very physical. But then we noticed, we learned that the internet, online marketing, social media are very powerful tools in projecting your brand. And that's why we are present in the major social media platforms that the major social media platforms, that's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and even Pinterest. We're active on them just to get the word as far as possible. We have a website where it reaches a wider audience fast. Okay, so social media is one of the major marketing tools that we use. And then another major marketing tool we use is like word of mouth and referrals. So it's very important that for every item we produce, it meets the requirements and standard of the client. Because when the client is happy and satisfied, it's very easy for them to tell their loved ones and friends and people around them that also require those services to patronize us. So those are like some of the marketing platforms that we use.
That you
A lot of people feel upcycled products are not safe.
Yeah.
I stand to argue with that, but then I don't really blame people because there are a lot of people, especially in this part of the world, that get upcycling wrong, and that's due to different reasons. Um, I think the final intention about upcycling is you were trying to preserve the environment, and that's why we are a social enterprise. It's a business, but then again, the well-being of people, the well-being of the environment, everything needs to tie up together to what you do. And that's why we pride ourselves that almost everything, every product we make is between 60 to 95% upcycled. We've even made a product before that was 100% upcycled. So to the screws, to the paint that we use was completely either thrown away or scrap or junk. You get it? And when you have taken time out to be sure of whatever elements you use in producing every piece of furniture, every piece of decor piece, I'm sorry, every product manufactured, is sustainable, is eco-conscious, it's something that if you can comfortably use it and it's good enough for the next person to use, then it's fine. But there have actually been brands, I have noticed some brands that upcycle, but I don't know if maybe they're not knowledgeable enough. And when I see some of the materials that they use, I know it would be an issue to people because when those products stay in an interior space, there's something called stick building syndrome.
Okay.
You would not know that if that product that you have, maybe that chair, the kind of finishing you gave to that piece of furniture in that space that is making you feel sick. And the moment you step outside, you feel okay. And the moment you come back to that space again, you just start having headache or you start feeling dizzy. You understand? That's the summary of what stick building syndrome is. And sometimes it ties down to the components of what some of these products consist of. So yes, some people would actually say, okay, they have reacted to upcycle products before, but we try as much as possible to ensure that every item we make is as sustainable and as eco-conscious, not theoretically, but practically as possible.
With your present industry knowledge and your experience, what would you have done? Would you have done anything differently while starting your business?
Hmm, just one thing. Just one thing I would have done differently. I would have trusted people a lot less. Yes, that's the only thing I would have done differently. But I have enjoyed the experience. It has been an amazing journey. If I had not made some of the mistakes I made while building this brand,
You?
I wouldn't be where I am today. The only thing I would maybe have done differently was maybe just not trust people enough. But then
But why
it
is
was still
that?
part of the
Why
experience.
why
So
is that, if I may ask? Why is that?
well, people could be really shrewd. People could be really crafty. So let me just give you a little example. One example. I think it was in 2018 when the business we were still trying to someone that free willingly decided to be a volunteer and to join the team and just to help push the brand. And we were very open to it. And then we more or less like started revealing the secrets to what we do and our trade and just some really crucial information. And that particular person started selling our ideas to a brand in Lagos. You understand? And it took us about 3 months to realize that. So it was not until somebody drew my attention. And the unfortunate thing was that person was with us, working with us, but was selling our designs because we try as much as possible to do for every product we make, we try to design them with a software, with a computer aided design. So he was taking those designs and selling to a particular company in Lagos. They're not into upcycling, but they also do creative things. And that it took us a while to be able to normalize. That's just one example. And so many other things that have been like a demerit due to trusting. They have always been in this line, but it's all good. At least we know now, and I've always advised people to also be very careful and cautious, especially when you're doing a sensitive business or a business that has to do with intellectual content and creativity.
So I'll still get back to the advice because I mean this sounds like an advice to people that would be going into the industry. But let's quickly talk about the government policies. What government policies in Nigeria would create a better environment for your business?
So I'm very big on anything that has to do with enlightenment and education. In I feel when people are well grounded and knowledgeable about different topics, it it helps in so many ways. So if there are government policies that maybe in our school curriculum has like a space that has maybe solid waste management or environmental sustainability generally, I think it will go a long way in sensitizing the Nigerian people right from grassroots. That's right from our
Early age in, yeah, primary
primary
school.
school. So if we could have like a restructuring in that line where right from those levels they already have like topics or that already are enlightening them about why environmental sustainability is important, why we need to reorient our footsteps because a lot of Nigerians do not know, they are not interested. Even the few that are interested are only looking at it from the financial perspective. They don't know why they should upcycle. They don't know why they should recycle. They don't know why they need to keep their environment clean. They don't know why they need to sort their trash. They don't know why they should repurpose. They don't know why they should stop this habit of excessive waste. So if government could create platforms through different organizations, we need more people upcycling, we need more people recycling, we need more people championing and advocating for climate change and all that. We need people in Nigeria that are representing us in international levels when it comes to the sustainable development goals and climate change. We need people in those lines. That is one. The second thing is if we could have okay, so this is why going to this point. So there's a university in the US that I have a collaboration with. The Upcycle Architect has a collaboration with. It's called Butler University in Indianapolis, and we facilitate some of their postgraduate students, and they also are carrying out like a profiling on the Upcycle Architect. And one of their major challenges is they do not have access to information about waste management in Nigeria or anything in this line. There's nothing, they don't even have access to what you call it, to information that has to do with concrete access to information that has to do with how much waste the average Nigerian home generates or how much waste goes into dump sites and landfills every year. So imagine if government, especially the Ministry of Environment, could take up this and start providing these crucial information, you
Yeah.
understand, online. Even I have tried to gather information and it has been a lot of people have told me, okay, I need to go to the ministry. Okay, it's hard copy, there's nothing virtual, there's nothing online. So you see it's really frustrating when you are trying to profess solutions and you don't even have access to basic information. So these are some of the lines. There's so many of them, but these are some of the most crucial ones that I would really love if the government could, address.
So we hope the regulators in charge do something about this and take necessary actions as regards to what you have just said. So let's talk about, or let's give your advice, few of your advice you would like to share with female entrepreneurs going into the waste recycling and upcycling industry.
Okay, so um, one thing the Upcycle Architect is known for is it's a fierce female-owned enterprise. Um, it's actually run by myself and another female architect and environmentalist. And one thing we always try to portray is you could actually be a woman and strike a balance in almost everything that you do.
Yeah, right.
It would be tough, definitely, but you could strike a balance. Strike a balance in the sense that you could run a successful business, you could run a successful enterprise that is known globally and still be able to manage your home, still be able to manage resources, still be able to empower people, and you will still be able to figure it out. But then you need to be hardworking, you need to be dedicated, you need to be selfless. You understand? And one of the things we do aside making products and um, creating upcycling, we teach people, we teach and train people. And our emphasis have always been women and young people. And most of the people that have even registered for our courses, they're usually free, but we have a few paid ones. Most of the people that have registered have been about 65 to 70% women. So when they come like that, we always try to ensure them that you could actually be a strong, confident woman. Wherever you come from, you could come from the north, south, east, you could come from anywhere and be so strong and fierce and successful. We always try to make them know that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to break down from time to time, but what is most important is people will always look up to you. And so you always need to dust yourself off and just keep forging ahead. So those are some of the things that we always try to encourage people. We believe we're very big on collaboration. Um, we've been myself and Funto. Funto is my partner, and we've been running the Upcycle Architect for years now, and we're like best friends. So you just need to be able to you just need to be able to strike a balance in every way. When it comes to being professional, you need to be as professional as possible. When it comes to being goofy and playful and all that, just strike a balance. And challenges will come, definitely, but it would always get better at the end of the day.
Thank you very, very much. I mean, I've picked out one or two lessons from all that you've had to say today. Thank you for joining us on the conversations today. It was great having you. We look forward to more collaborations and more of your, yes, and we wish super success in this journey in the waste and recycling, upcycling industry.
Thank you so much.
And that will be all on today's episode of the Women's Series. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining in. If you've got questions or comments, kindly reach us at programs@proshare-ng.com, and do subscribe to our
Thank
YouTube
you very much.
channel and visit our website on www.proshare-ng.com to get more updates on our news stories and videos. Remember that what is junk to some is treasure to others. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.